You are listening to the Why I Love Disney podcast. In this episode, we discuss park closures as Disney takes bold actions to protect the health of its customers and cast members. Are you ready? Let's go. I've never been in a situation like this. You know, we're all kind of learning as we go. So just be kind and generous to one another and give people the benefit of the doubt. And not everybody knows, we don't have a lot of experience with this. So all we can do is what we know and know that when you pick up the phone and you're talking to a representative at Disney or a travel agent or wherever, or you're at Walmart and you're in a long line, that, people are in the same boat as you. And we can do with a lot of kindness and a lot of sympathy right now for people that are struggling. Greetings and welcome to another exciting episode of the Why I Love Disney podcast. I'm Dustin.
I'm David.
And we are here once again, weekly. We never stop. Nothing's going to stop us. No virus, no sickness. We'll figure out.
Well, there's just two of us in here, so
we're more than 6 feet away. Social distancing. We haven't touched, we haven't high-fived, we haven't hugged, nothing like that. We don't.
No. What a crazy week.
It is a crazy week. Things are shutting down left and right. We've been talking about this for a long time.
For about 3 weeks, I think.
Well, our first was when they closed Shanghai Disney. I think back in early February, we talked about that, saying, wow, I wonder, that's a big unprecedented step for Disney to step in and close Shanghai Disney. This coronavirus thing seems like it might be, man, it's really affecting them over there. And then a couple of weeks ago, or actually, was it last week, we talked about how they were thinking about maybe opening parts of Shanghai, and hopefully we were through that. But since last week, man, it has been like nonstop news cycle. And we speculated quite a bit about, would Disney close the parks? What would they do?
Right.
And that has happened this week. Everything's closed. We had SEC tournament basketball, the NBA, Major League Baseball, all sports.
March Madness canceled. Crazy.
Unprecedented times. You have travel bans. You have restrictions pretty much across the board. Where I live in Kentucky, schools are out for at least 2 weeks, probably a month. Churches are closing to kind of facilitate this kind of quarantine, this kind of, they call it like
just to stop the spread,
to stop the spread or stay below the threshold of overwhelming the healthcare system, that kind of thing. And from national leaders to state leaders and everybody else are recommending that people take these measures, and we're seeing businesses step up. Disney, I think, leading the way in many regards in private sector to close parks. And we have the news this week that Disney indeed closed Disneyland, California, Adventures, and Walt Disney World parks, all the parks in Walt Disney.
And Disneyland Paris.
So
yes. all the parks are closed worldwide now. Incredible.
Yes. Which is a third of their revenue source from parks.
It's crazy.
Which tells you a couple of things. This has got to be a big deal. I think you actually even said this on the podcast, specifically, if Disney closes the parks, then we'll know it's a big deal.
Well, it just felt like even Shanghai, Tokyo, Hong Kong, they were quick to say, we can't do this. We need to close down. So even that, when I was watching it, when all the speculation here in the States was, is it really as big as everybody says it is? It's just like the flu. It's like, I don't think they would be closing their parks overseas if there wasn't a strong reason. And so I was going to watch California as it spreads on the West Coast. If we see Disneyland go, we're going to see more things go. And that's what happened. Disneyland went, and then all the basketball, just one thing after another, was like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's kind of a social responsibility because this is a place where many people from all over the world go and congregate. And I think it's the right step. I think it's a very courageous and bold step of putting the public health and the public interest over profits. It's in no one's interest for this to happen at all, financially. This happens because there's a risk, and I commend Disney.
Right, I do too. And we also talked about that. Up until the announcements, the it didn't look like attendance in the parks was going down. And we know that there are people, if it got worse, there would be people who would take advantage of that and would actually flood to the park because they're thinking there's going to be fewer people there.
Right.
And so there would be more people there or just as many people there. And so there's really no way to know at this point that, think about all the thousands of people that are in the park that day, how that's what's getting spread around.
Absolutely. I know we both know people who have had trips planned and that are now canceled. Disney is now scrambling to, rebook people and refund vacations. That's a big deal. But I do, you think of it from a few angles. There's the people who had vacations planned, the customers of Disney, all us fans like us, right, who may have had trips booked or other things. But I think this is a big move too for the cast members, for their employees, to keep them safe,
right?
To continue the high level of customer service that we come to expect from Disney, the interaction with characters and restaurant staff and ride operators, whoever that, and people that work in the stores. All of this to say, hey, Disney's saying we care about you. We're not going to put you in a position to put you at risk.
Well, we definitely saw around the world that there were places that did put measures into place to try to say, what can we do to stop this? And other places in the world that didn't do things quick enough.
Right.
And so suddenly you have a widespread reaction to this virus, and it's affecting so many people in certain areas more than others. And so just think about in Florida or in California, when you have that many people coming in, that could be the right scenario to spread that all over the country.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a way, like I said, like people from everywhere. It's spring break season. There's spring breaks happening all over the week after week after week.
I mean, that's the word. I mean, if this had happened in January, February, would have been one thing, but to have to close the parks in March, April, May, if it goes that long, that's the season everybody wants to go. A lot of people. Right. It's not the summer. It's not as hot. Right. I mean, a lot of people love to go spring break,
they're
fall
off school.
break. Right.
And, you got people from all probably 50 states all over the world that are descend upon the parks right now. And I think it's a very courageous and very bold move by Disney to say, hey, we're going to join in with what they're asking us to do. And we're a leader in public health because of just the nature of the business and what they've done. And I also think this is a message to people that are saying this all seems like an overreaction. Listen, there are brilliant Disney hires the best of these are a giant multinational corporation, and they're not the only ones, right?
Right.
But there are brilliant people with calculators that are crunching data and have determined that what is best for their company is to take a hit in the terms of billions of dollars for the good of the public safety.
Right.
And if they're doing that, I don't think this is an overreaction. Or let's say we hope it's an overreaction in the sense that maybe we're looking in 2 or 3 weeks or a month from now, looking back and saying, hey, nothing really happened for this. This is probably why nothing happened too.
Exactly.
And what would you rather? Would you rather this be what we're seeing in some like Italy for right now, this nightmare scenario where hospitals are overrun? I mean, it's like wartime triage over there.
It would be better to be wrong, proactive, taking care of people and trying to stop this than to come back in a couple of weeks and say we were wrong. We should have closed.
100%. So I've been encouraged by and Disney stepping up and doing this in a public. This is a big statement, right? To every other business that's out there that interacts with it. If Disney's doing this, maybe what should we look at? And it's encouraged me a lot that the corporate culture, of course, governmental is always hopefully concerned about public health, but then on down to the local level, that there seems to be this sense of I haven't really sensed that people are scared themselves to contract the virus. I sense that people are concerned that others are going to get it. The weakest in our population, the elderly,
we all have people in our lives that may be more at risk.
Right.
And so it's like, I want to be really careful who I'm around and who, because I might not know, people might not know they're sick and carry it to someone who is a high risk person with circumstances that are already diabetes or heart disease or things like that
Right.
they're already more at risk. So we just don't want to take it somewhere else.
Absolutely. And our kids, I think there hasn't been a kid that's died of this yet, right? Anybody under 18. So kids seem to be very immune to this. So a lot of parents are like, well, we're not over 60. Our kids are immune. So why not? Why can't we? Well, it's really more about like kids getting this, not having any symptoms and giving it to grandma or giving it to someone else and spreading it. And then all of a sudden, there's some really big consequences to this. And I hope that everybody takes it seriously.
It's definitely not. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical, but it just, the comparison that this is like the flu, that just didn't make any sense to me because it's really an unknown. It's something new.
Right.
And so figuring out we know how to deal with the flu. The doctors are familiar with this. Is a lot of new involved in this. Yep. And so I always think, it's better to be cautious and take care of yourself and follow all the rules, wash your hands, sanitize as much as you can. Just be careful because if it all blows over in a couple of weeks, hey, what was lost? I mean, we were a little bit cleaner for a couple of weeks, but if we do the opposite, it can be a lot worse.
Yeah, there are those who say though we do lose by this because there are workers who need to feed their families. Right. There are businesses, smaller mom and pop organizations, travel agencies. Again, just thinking of the Disney World, not Disney itself, but all of the kind of.
I do realize that definitely that is the scariest thing, that there are a lot of people whose personal businesses, travel agencies, people like that who work with Disney, especially those guys, people that work on whose jobs depend on Disney being open or the NBA being open or a festival happening. That is very sad, and I'm definitely not making light of that.
Right? No,
I just think for most people,
we're better off to get it over with now than it being way worse and this being a prolonged thing.
Yes.
I think we talked in the last episode about conferences canceling and things like that.
Right.
Again, it's a cost benefit. It's a weight, but this does have it's a huge effect on a lot of people in a lot of ways, and we all just sort of have to buckle up for what's coming and know that it is best for the public health.
And I mean, even in the low, like I've got a son in high school, and it's already affected soccer season. Yep. It's affecting. They're already talking about prom. They're talking about graduation, like what will happen, and and that's May.
Yeah,
and they're still already looking at, do these things need to be canceled? Lots of school tournaments and school activities that involve travel have been canceled because they can't keep those things open where there's hotels involved and travel involved. Sure. And a lot of it's sad because it's like his senior year, and a lot of these things that they've looked forward to have been canceled already. And so hopefully
just postponed. Hopefully, like you said, we don't know, but again, there's a few things we can do. Like you said, follow what your government officials tell you. Wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, practice social distancing, stay home when they tell you to stay home, all of those things. But beyond that too, I've just seen lots in these kind of times where it's stressful. Imagine you've got a trip planned. I have a cousin who was supposed to land today and start their Disney week at Disney, and it had to be canceled, and they have to rebook and reschedule, and it is rebooked and rescheduled, I think, for some time in the summer. But in all of this, you can imagine the stress and the kind of anxiety. And just one other thing we can do is just be nice to each other. When you pick up the phone, if you're affected by this and you're talking to a Disney representative or a travel agent, know that this isn't their fault. This is happening. Right. And just
there's some crazy stories. You read me one online. Just crazy the way people have responded and acted. How, Yeah, it's so easy to be mean.
It is. And know that, man, everybody's just trying. This is kind of unprecedented territory. Nobody really knows what they're supposed to do. I've never been in a situation like this. We're all kind of learning as we go. So just be kind and generous to one another and give people the benefit of the doubt. And not everybody knows, we don't have a lot of experience with this. So all we can do is what we know, and know that when you pick up the phone and you're talking to a representative at Disney or a travel agent or wherever, or you're at Walmart and you're in a long line, that people are in the same boat as you, and we can deal with a lot of kindness and a lot of sympathy right now for people that are struggling.
We had a soccer tournament for this coming weekend that we were going to, and of course it got canceled, and we lost that money with the hotel. There was no getting it back. I mean, there was nothing we could do. I mean, I could yell at the people all day long. That wasn't going to do any good. That was just, they have no way to fix it. And so it was like, we are going to have some losses. There's no doubt. I mean, everybody's going to have some.
Yeah, we're in this together, and hopefully we'll be through it too. But there, one thing, I think you did hit on it too, in a couple of weeks, we could use this as an opportunity, if you're going to be at home more, if you're, if things shut down and you can't go out, you can't go to, right now you can still go to movie theaters where I live, but that may not be.
I did see in our area that some movie theaters were closing. That really,
we'll get to that in a second too, because Disney has some announcements about upcoming releases also. But this is an opportunity, I think, to enjoy like a simpler life. Like I think about, my kids are out of school for at least 2 weeks, probably a month. What an opportunity to, take a little bit more time at home and have, board game nights and watch more things on Disney Plus, together and more movies.
But our first reaction usually is like, hey, we've got a break. Where can we go?
Exactly. And that's, and to be perfectly honest,
that's a very affluent.
My first thought, that was my first thought when they said they canceled school.
Yeah.
This is how fast news breaks, right? Early last week, it was, my wife and I were looking at tickets to the SEC tournament to see the Kentucky Wildcats play in Nashville, right? We were toying around with the idea of maybe going down there. And then Wednesday night, an NBA player contracts the virus. And then by Thursday, they've announced no fans in the arena, or Wednesday night, no fans in the arena. By Thursday afternoon, it's no game. We're canceling it all. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so fast. Like every day it was just another, whoa, this is happening. And then all of a sudden you go from, oh, the kids are out of school, let's look at going to the beach, to, oh man, there could be a travel ban. That's probably not a great idea right now. And even then, just probably better to just stay put. And everything's in flux and we don't know. So that was my thought. So just through this, it's like,
my wife just showed me a couple of days ago these cruises that were offering just incredible deals.
Yeah.
Incredible deals. Like, you are kidding me. It's so low. Like, but that's almost another reason to go. Risk. I don't know.
The cruises. Okay. So I have, so what I've researched on cruise, cause I've looked at all this.
I know you have, because we talked to be like, oh, this might be the time to take advantage of
they recirculate air on a cruise ship.
Yes.
And that's kind of the big no-no. Is like the reason cruises are such a bad idea is because it's not open. I heard one expert say, if you quarantine everybody on a cruise ship, you're almost guaranteeing everyone's going to get it because of the way the air is recirculated. It's just because you're enclosed, you're in a confined space. And so I think I would avoid cruise ships now for sure. A matter of fact, I'm going to follow.
And Disney Cruise is closed.
Disney Cruise is closed. I think there's several that have shut down completely.
I haven't seen anybody besides Disney. That's what I wasn't sure
about. It's a travel advisory now. They say you shouldn't go on cruises.
Yeah, that seems like one of those things that this doesn't feel like the best place to be.
Yeah. Well, and I have another friend. Well, actually, our co-producer, sometimes Ramin, we were talking yesterday. And he's like, man, I could fly from Kansas to Hawaii round trip for $200 right now. I mean, and I'm like, that's an incredible deal, and you start seeing these things, but you also feel for like the airlines too, because these are every company that's doing this is hurting. They're desperate for customers, and there's a flip side, because when you see those prices so low, it means they're taking a huge hit, which means that there are employees that are probably going to get laid off or have time off, and it's just a sad situation all around. Right. I'd love to be the one to help support them, but we're just not supposed to right now.
Well, I'm still hoping and praying that if we do the right thing up front, that quickly it will be under control and we'll see the spread minimized and get things back to normal as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. And it's kind of in flux. And as there's more breaking news, we'll try to do another podcast for you and keep you in the loop on it. You can also follow us on Twitter, Why I Love Disney 1, and we try to retweet and post updates and news updates too. So follow us on there. We'd love you to do that. I
was going to say that, and again, besides the time of year, just that it would affect the parks when so many new things, so many people are trying to do the new Star Wars attractions, got Runaway Railway opening up. and now the parks are closed. And I was even looking at like online all the new merchandise and all the St. Patrick's Day treats and St. Patrick's Day things that were coming to the parks. Think about how much money was invested in all of that, and we're going to miss that whole holiday completely. So
it's incredible. I think I've seen that Disney parks stateside have only been closed. I think they closed after the Kennedy assassination momentarily, like for a day of mourning. After 9/11, there was an earthquake in California where Disneyland, I think, was closed temporarily.
Okay.
And that's it. This is number 4.
Some hurricanes in Florida.
There's been some hurricanes
that have closed
for
temporary
a day temporarily.
But, even when Walt passed away, they didn't close the park. Yeah. They kept it going. They said that's what he would have wanted. So, it's very unprecedented.
It feels a lot
but there's never been a pandemic like this that they've dealt with. I mean, this is the first like this, really.
Yeah. You keep hearing, one of these would come one of these days, and hopefully we can mitigate the you're right. It's kind of,
it is amazing that a virus that began in China sometime in December has gotten here this quickly and spreading, and it's just amazing.
It is fascinating. So, and as a result, other things. So we have the Mulan, Antlers, and the New Mutants, all Disney, some sort of Disney pictures are connected to that. All have been, they've announced that they are not releasing those movies.
I was so looking forward to Mulan.
I was too, but I'd hate for it to release and me not want to go.
Well, that is, I didn't realize that's the highest budget of any of the remakes they've done so far. Really? I think I don't think I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's a huge investment, and I totally understand.
A high budget, so they can't have a bad opening.
Yeah, I mean, if half the theaters are closed, and by then, no telling, you just don't know.
Right.
And then people are not going to go to the theater. Why would that's a great move. A business.
Theaters, when I was growing up, I always thought theaters were the place that you were most likely to catch.
I know
a cold. And remember the movie Outbreak? Remember the movie with Dustin Hoffman, and the people are sneezing in the theater, and that's where they kind of play.
I love that they made a movie where they made the theater the place for use. This doesn't seem smart, but it does seem like a nice terror.
But while you're sitting in the theater looking around, you're going, who's sneezing around me? But it will not surprise me if we see. I mean, it was one thing when I went to see Onward. I told you that it was very light. We went on the Thursday night. It was not very crowded. But when you saw it was very crowded with a lot of people. It was full theater. So that could be 100, 150 plus people probably in a room. I don't know how many are in my exact theater, but it won't surprise me if people
it's also
back down a little bit.
It's also consistent with their messaging on closing the parks.
Right.
Why would we release this big epic movie where we're asking people to all go and sit together in a room to watch it?
And I know I've seen the numbers 200, 250, but in my brain, 100, 150, that's still a lot of people.
Right.
I mean, so I would be thinking, do I want to do this when I can watch? Hey, they released Frozen 2 earlier on Disney Plus, so we got new content there.
Some good news. And start with, from a business standpoint, you now think of Disney Plus as a hedge, and you don't think a lot of people are subscribing this week when they're home with their kid. If they hadn't yet,
it might be.
Honestly, I live my life assuming everybody's got Disney Plus, but I mean, we're talking what a service if your kids are out of school. And if I were Disney, I would be thinking of a way to discount or do like a promo to where get people on free at least during this time or whatever. But yeah, they gave us a little
because it was supposed to be a few more weeks.
It's 3 months. I think it was the summer.
Yeah, because I wondered how they were going when Disney Plus started.
So before you said what we're referring to is Disney announced that they were going to just go ahead and release Frozen 2. Right. 3 months early.
Which has come out already on DVD and Blu-ray. Right. But I figured when they did this, either they're going to discontinue all that, or there's going to have to be a buffer where they put out DVD and Blu-ray and refrain from putting on Disney Plus for a while.
It's the windowing,
because you're trying to hit. You want everybody to buy it in every market.
Exactly. It's the same thing the music industry does. It's called, for bigger companies, it's windowing, where you want them to buy a physical product, so you limit. But but that strategy's out the window. They went gave it right on Disney Plus right now, and we're actually planning on watching it as family movie night tonight. Yeah, because I still have not seen Frozen 2, so I'm excited. Next we can talk about that.
The DVD, my Blu-ray came the other day, a couple of weeks ago, probably. Whenever it came out, it was like the first. It comes right away, and I did not watch the movie over, but I did watch all the bonus features on that.
Nice,
because that's what I love, going back and seeing the behind-the-scenes stuff.
As far as we know, the hotels are still open at Disney World. I've seen mixed reports on that. I think there's a lot of because of the parks are closed. There's a lot of people just can't.
Well, I figured they would give people a while to make plans, because you had to have some time to.
I think it was Saturday. I think yesterday was the last day the parks were open. Right. They did give them I
think it was this beginning the 16th. Everything's closed.
Gotcha. So you think the hotels are down too? I haven't seen confirmation on that.
I thought they were closing, but then I've seen other reports on other vlogs and blogs that the hotel, some of the hotels at Disney World will sure open, but I'm not sure.
So I'm on Walt Disney's website right now. If it'll update on Walt Disney World Resort operations. Disney Resort hotels will remain open until further notice. Disney Springs will also remain open.
I knew that, and downtown Disney at Disneyland, parts of it at least were.
So there's operational updates on everything, but all resort hotels are still open as of right now. Right. It's interesting. It's just interesting, and I'm sure they have reasons for all of that.
I mean, hey, it would be if it was just my wife and I, that would be a great trip. We could just go check out some different resorts and restaurants and have a relaxing time, but.
As soon as you get down there, they're like...
There would be a travel ban. That's what would happen, yeah. Well, in this whole process, there's been lots of things going around. It's hard to know when you read things what is true and what is speculation, so...
Some other things that have happened, too. The hotels are, even though they're still open now, restaurants seem to be still open also on site. Disney Springs, obviously, is still open. I wonder if that means the bowling alley. I have heard that the Cirque is being postponed.
So that would be a theater. I mean, that would be a group of people sitting.
But the college program is also dismissed.
Yeah, my daughter's college roommate all of last year is in the Disney college program now, and she got the notice that she was being sent home. But before I actually saw it in the news, we knew that hers had been terminated and they were being sent back home, which is really sad. I mean, that's to be right in the middle of that program and to be let go.
Sure. Interesting times for sure. We'll keep you up to date on what we know. But that's the gist of it. There's a lot of things happening in the country as far as other things being closed, but the Disney related things, I think that's the biggest of them. I tried to do some research of how long they think they're going to remain closed. It's all speculation. I think right now I saw March 28th, but they don't really know. I don't think anybody really knows how long this is going to last. But, thoughts and prayers that everything kind of blows over quickly and all these things that are happening are help.
And these measures help so that it slows down the length of time we have to do all this. Hey, another good news, they did give an announcement that the Avengers campus at Disney California Adventure would open July 18th.
All right.
Which looks amazing. That Spider-Man, just the thought of a new Spider-Man attraction is cool. But then this whole web slinging technology is like gesture recognition system, so you don't even have to have a device. It's gonna be able to read your wrists.
That's timely too. Nothing. You don't have to touch some sort of thing
there
everybody
you go.
else touched.
Yeah, we don't have to touch anything.
Just use your hands. That's great.
Think about all the guns and things people touch on Astro Blasters and Buzz Lightyear and.
That's awesome.
Midway Mania.
So this is gesture.
It says it's a gesture. Yeah, that you'll shoot your
webs out of your
wrist.
Oh, that's super cool. My kids are going to love that.
Yeah.
Well, that's in July when this opens.
It says opens July 18th.
Well, there you go.
It's called Web Slingers: A Spider-Man Adventure.
Well, you have something to look forward to once the parks open back up.
And then there's a PIM test kitchen that's going to open, and then we got some more things down down the road from that. But those will be there July 18th.
That sounds super cool. I think we're going to follow this up with a Disney Plus, like what we're most excited about watching on our time off, here in the next few weeks.
All right.
And our social distancing list of things. But there was, have you seen the preview for a new series called Disney Insider? It actually is it takes you into like projects. So like on the scene of Mulan or
That's
a
cool.
new ride where there's a Disney Plus series that are going to go behind the scenes. And just it's called Disney Insider.
Oh, that's cool.
And I think I would like more of that sort of thing.
They just changed the name of their. There used to be the Disney Movie Rewards program. They just changed the name of that to Disney Insider. So I thought that's what you were talking about at first. But that sounds really cool. I was hoping there would be something like that because the Imagineering thing was just 6 episodes. And I was like, man, there's so much more to show.
We need more for sure.
And the behind the scenes content, I mean, that's the only place you're really going to get that is somewhere like Disney Plus or online. So, man, more of that. That'd be great.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a top 10 list of what to watch on the we'll call it your social distancing vacation.
Okay.
Yeah. So or whatever you want to call this thing while your kids are out of school. So there's a couple ways to approach it. There's like my kind of all-timer list of what I would. It's sort of like what you would take to a deserted island if you could only take this many movies with you to watch. Mm-hmm. What would that be? That's one way to think of it. The other thing is what have you not seen yet that you're most excited to try out?
Okay.
So maybe we'll do some sort of combination of the two of those here coming up. I think that would be fun because I've got a lot of TV on the agenda.
Because there were several things that I haven't watched yet that I was like, I need to catch up on this, and this. So I was thinking more like that, but that's
both. Let's do both.
Could be
that's the thing. Like I there's a couple of new things on Disney Plus. I haven't seen Frozen 2, so that's obviously the top of the list. But there are those in the nostalgia category. That's the list of like things I want to like really dig into on the break here a little bit. Hopefully we'll get to have a few movie nights this week, not just one.
All right.
So that's going to be fun. So stay tuned for that, man. That'll be coming out hopefully sooner than we try to do these weekly, but we're going to try to speed this up a little bit for you guys and see if we can't get out another episode here at the end of the week as opposed to the beginning of the week and give you more to listen to while you're distancing yourself socially and listening to more things on streaming and watching more things on streaming, just giving you more content. I'll tell you what would be awesome is if we could start a conversation about this. We got a few followers on Twitter that have reached, kind of responded and retweeted and those sort of things. But we would love to interact with you a little bit more. So if you have your favorite movies, we'd love to discuss those too and put those on the list, and we'll talk about those here on the air too. But we really do thank you for your time. We appreciate that, and know that if you've been affected, however you've been affected by the coronavirus and the things that are going on wherever you are around the world, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family, and we hope you are well and stay well. And if there's anything we can do to serve you, man, let us know. And in this time, we just hope we can be a positive voice of optimism that it's all going to be okay, that we're going to make it through this. And our fandom of Disney is one thing we can rally around during this time. And thank God we have Disney Plus and some other things and like that to keep us going. But super excited about what's to come. And David, thanks for jumping on here and braving everything to come out and do this today too.
Thank you.
Until next time, you can find us at whyilovedisney.com. Contact us through there or on Twitter at whyilovedisney1. And we will be back real soon. Have a great and safe and healthy week.